the executive producer of
England Lawn Tennis Championships. Long walk off a short beer time for mere pretenders to the loftiest throne in tennis. After 2 days of relatively benign weather, most of the world's top players find themselves in the unusual position of having completed first-round matches, and not unanimously to their satisfaction. Witness, for instance, the unceremonious departures of two American commercial tennis commodities. First, Jimmy Connors, and then Michael Chang. Both of them nuked by lesser-known opponents. In Chang's case, stopped the tournament. An Englishman has won. Jeremy Bates' three-set triumph set off paroxysms of ecstasy on and around court 14. God save our queen. Elsewhere, the Yanks were still coming. McEnroe, for instance, who served himself to a win. Courier takes a second day off today, a relief to rivals who barely remember his last loss. And Agassi tries to finish off Chesnikov for undisputed Andre supremacy today. And Edberg's elegance continues apace. And still Monica Seles is here in the race. Day 3, your worship, your ladyship, your grace.
Tennis, and an All-England Lawn Tennis Club, once unnerved by the concept, now embraces it with spectacular enthusiasm. Total prize money for this year's championships, £4,400,000. Present conversion rate, just about $2 to the pound. Added up, it's almost $9 million. £265,000 to the gentlemen's singles winner, £240,000 to the ladies' singles winner. Even the mixed doubles champions get the split, 100,000 American clams. And they do so under typically opaque English skies. Temperature 72 degrees, the wind is light, and in the curious English euphemism, the skies are partly sunny, not partly cloudy. And hello again, welcome back. I'm Jim Lampley with 1975 men's singles champion Arthur Ashe. And Arthur, because Jim Courier is #1 and halfway to a Grand Slam, one schedule oddity sticks out to me like a sore thumb. Courier takes a second day in a row off today because they want him to play a match during the showcase weekend. And last year, Boris Becker, inconvenienced by the rain, complained of having to play too many matches all at once at the end of the tournament and said he was tired. Did the same thing happen to Courier?
Well, it could, but that was the second week that Becker was talking about. You have to keep in mind that Wimbledon, unlike the other 3 Grand Slams, is played over 13 days, not 14. And if you're going to win all the way through, you got to play 7 days. 7 of 13, that's not a bad schedule. You got to also figure that it's going to rain here, for sure. So I don't think Courier would complain one way or the other.
If we told him he had to play 5 matches tomorrow?
So be it.
All right, let's take a look at the men's seeds, and you tell me a story or two, Arthur.
Well, certainly of the 6 American seeds, Michael Chang at #7 in the top quarter of the draw was out to Jeremy Bates. But the guy I really want to talk about is down in the bottom quarter, Ivan Lendl, soon to be a naturalized American. He is struggling, but he gives himself, like John McEnroe, a bit of a chance to win this tournament.
Such a head change for Lendl to be seeded 10th, not ranked in the top 10. Incentive for him or discouraging to someone who worked so hard to get to where he was?
Well, so many of us in the journalistic profession, like myself at times, put Lendl there in those places where he would gladly trade one of his French Open titles for a Wimbledon title, but he realizes this is not his best service. He's got to struggle, but he still gives himself a pretty good chance.
So maybe with a more realistic perspective, he is as dangerous now as he was when he was a truly great player 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, certainly the pressure is not on him to win. Nobody expects him to win. I don't really think he thinks he's going to win, but he's going to give it a good shot.
In fact, if you want a 50-to-1 bet here in the tournament, fly to England and put your money down on Lendl right now. We'll be seeing him today on court number 14 against German player Arne Toms. Ivan Lendl meeting Arne Toms on court 14. The one time they played before, Toms won. Over on court number 2 today, the defending champion, German Michael Stich, takes on famous Amos Mansdorf of Israel. Mansdorf has had some good moments here, and he has beaten Stich the only previous time they met head-to-head. On center court today, the Madonna of women's tennis, Monica Seles, as her opponent, Appelmans, Sabine Appelmans, and head-to-head, Seles has won their only previous meeting. Pete Sampras follows Monica Seles on to center court. The young American given by many a good chance to win the tournament. He leads Todd Woodbridge in their series 2-1. Woodbridge, a good grass court player from Australia. Now here's maybe the greatest grass court player of his generation, two-time Wimbledon champion Stefan Edberg, taking on Gary Muller, who's also a grass court player. And Edberg has lost to Muller in their one previous meeting. Martina Navratilova will be playing UCLA's Kimberly Po on court number 1. They have never met before. And Andre Agassi will try to complete his match with Andrei Chesnikov, because yesterday your dinner with two Andres was interrupted by rain and darkness, with the two players having split the first 2 sets and Chesnikov leading 2-1 in the third. Arthur, does the suspension and resumption affect the match in any way?
I don't think so, only in one respect. The court today is going to be drier, it's going to be faster, and I think that's going to help Chesnikov because he's so much taller. He'll be able to get about the court a lot better. Otherwise, no, I don't see any difference at all.
All right, Arthur, give us a biographical look at the two Andres as we get ready to watch them.
Well, Agassi is a youngish 22, just under 6 feet. His ATP ranking has dropped out of the top 10 to 14. He's won 15 tournaments, lives in Las Vegas. This year, he has won the tournament in Atlanta, and he reached the semifinals of the French Open 2 weeks ago against Jim Courier. Did not play very well in the second and third sets of that semifinal loss.
And let's look at Chesnikov, best known as a clay court player.
Yes, he won Monte Carlo last year. He's 26, he's 6'2", he's ranked 31, a slim 167. He's won 7 tournaments, lives in Moscow. First time he's been here since 1989, never won a Wimbledon match here, and never passed the semifinal of any Grand Slam event.
And because he hasn't done well at Wimbledon, even though Chesnikov at one time ranked as high as 9th, it would be an upset for him to beat Agassi today.
Yes, no question. Agassi is definitely favored.
All right, let's take a look at an overall analysis of what has happened in the match up to the point at which it was resumed.
Well, we were both a little disappointed the way Agassi played the first set. He lost that set, even though he was serving generally fairly well, getting 66% of his first serves in. Winners, this category is where I am surprised, because you expect Agassi to hit more winners than Chesnikov, but that is not the case. Unforced errors also for Agassi, not where it should be.
All right, so will it be Agassi's aggression or Chesnikov's relatively passive resistance? Let's check in for another look, right?
Michael Stich, the Wimbledon defending champion, going against Amos Monsdorf from Israel. Monsdorf beat him at Philadelphia earlier this year. Billy, what about Michael Stich, the defending champion? He comes in here, a lot of confidence?
Tremendous amount of confidence. He knows what it feels like to be out there on center court, hold on to that trophy, finish, shake hands at the net, and know that he's really won this Wimbledon championships. Also, he doesn't get any pressure from the media. Nobody seems to care, Barry.
Really interesting. Everybody's still talking about Boris Becker back in Germany. Billy, what about his game technically?
Well, technically, he's wonderful because he's had such a great serve. But more importantly, it's his second serve. In fact, he was only broken 6 times in the entire tournament last year. Also, he has a very good return of serve. He'll get on a streak, and then he'll break somebody's serve, and then nobody can break his.
All right, Jim, we'll be all over these outer courts, 13, 14, 2. We'll be covering it for you. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Barry and Billie Jean. We'll be talking to you just a little bit later. Now, let's go around the grounds for some scores of other matches today. Sandon Stolly, second-generation star from Australia, knocked out Chris Wilkinson of England. Stolly is a big server who's a dark horse here. He grew up thinking of Wimbledon and probably knows the place as well as any player of his generation. Amy Frazier of the United States, a winner over Louise Allen. Frazier goes on in the draw, as does Grant Stafford of South Africa, who knocked out Patrick McEnroe today, while Helena Sukova, former Czechoslovakian star and now Czechoslovakian veteran, beat Alexia Deschamps of France. Mana Endo of Japan got a win over Amanda Grunfeld of England. We'll have more scores for you, of course, as we go along. Right now, we're going to get our first look today at Monica Seles, top-seeded woman, #1 in the world, playing in her second-round match on center court. Let's go there with Arthur Ashe right now. On center court, Monica Seles, receiving serve in the near court and leading 6-3 and 3-1 over Sabine Appelmans of Belgium.
Love 15.
Another 2 southpaw match.
Love 30. First service. Fifteen 30.
And double break point for Seles, who routinely breaks serve against opponents like Appelmans. This is Appelmans' second Wimbledon appearance.
30-40.
Monica, of course, wasn't here last year. Lost a big upset in the quarterfinal round to Zina Garrison the year before.
There's one player here at Wimbledon that I would advise not to miss your first serve against. It's Monica Seles. Reprieve on that one for Miss Appelmans.
Lightning ground stroke from Appelmans, a bit of Seles' own medicine.
Not too much is said, Jim, about
Advantage, Miss Seles.
Seles' footwork, which is extraordinarily good on any surface. She really gets into position very well for most of her shots. Well played. Now that is what most players think of when they come up with a strategy for playing Seles, watching her get to this drop shot and hit the ball back with one hand in that situation, but it's not easy to bring her to the net on your own terms.
Talk about the footwork, Arthur, and of course, hitting two-handed off both sides, her footwork must be a little better than the norm.
Yes, she's got to at least move side to side very well to get out of the way.
Advantage, Miss Seles.
And the entire length of her swing is not nearly as long as it would be with one hand. She hits the ball much earlier in the swing path. So she can open up the court quite a bit more. Well, that's the strategy. Everybody talks about, given the chance, try the drop shot.
That's a good shot to play against her if you can make it work.
There's no defense
Advantage
against that.
Appelmans.
Boy, I used to love those let courts. You'd always put your hand up to your opponent to say, sorry, but you really weren't sorry.
And an ace. Impressive game for Sabine Appelmans of Belgium, who holds serve and fights off 3 break points against Monica Seles. And let's go out to court number 2 with Barry and Billie Jean to find out what's happening between Mansdorf and Michael Stich. And back on center court, Monica Seles serving in the far court. Appelmans receiving down at the bottom of your screen.
Watching Seles serves, she has about, at most, 50 degrees of rotation. See, she faces the net quite a bit.
30 love.
The delivery is so snappish and quick and well aimed and well timed, she doesn't rely too much on torque. Basically, she just uses her serve to get the point started.
Has it improved at all since her last appearance here 2 years ago?
I think, as far as positioning is concerned, yes. Speed, no. Consistency, about the same. I think the grunt meter would show a few higher decibels than 2 years ago, although she says she's trying to work on it. As she runs in for this drop shot, she flicks it cross court.
And some of the London newspapers reporting this morning that the grunting is once again a subject of concern for tournament referee Alan Mills. Seems like the proverbial tempest in a teapot to me, Arthur.
Well, if you're going to play Monica Seles, you're going to hear the grunting. No question about it. And we've always heard it.
Surely it can't pose a competitive disadvantage to her competitors.
If you let it bother you, it would. I suspect if you're playing her and you're losing, you'll say it bothers you.
40-30.
Appelmans made Seles stretch wide there, one-handed.
Game to Seles.
Well, I've just got to believe that shots like that are considerably more destructive than the grunting. 4-2 Seles.
Leads 4 games to 2, second set.
And a set in hand.
She, meaning Seles, says she wants to improve her volley. I'm not sure how she would do that because she plays both ground strokes with 2 hands. Very awkward grip, but very effective. Says she would like to see herself like Marilyn Monroe.
Love 15.
The right idea.
Now, this desire to be like Marilyn Monroe, this is a life reference, not a tennis reference.
Correct. She, in giving an interview in L'Equipe, the French Sports Illustrated, talked about Marilyn Monroe quite often as someone she...
Love 13.
There it is. You hold up
Yes.
the hand and say, sorry.
Sorry. When you really don't honestly mean it. Back of your mind, say, "Phew, glad I got that one." Seles looking for an out call.
You might say that Seles is too affected by stardom, but she's quite open and frank about it.
Very. Typical teenager. I think she reads Vogue, but may not quite give too much serious attention to working women. Yet, as we look at that last shot, I know a few women who are paid as much for their work as Monica Seles.
Well, according to the figures I've read, no woman corporate executive in the United States made as much money last year as Monica Seles.
Well, the now distribution of prize money over here, not the same as it is in the U.S., where the prize money at the Open is the same as it is for men.
Game is Seles. Ball change, please.
And with an exhibition of her game, pounding the ball hard off both wings, Monica Seles goes up another service break at 5-2 in the second. And we go back to Barry and Billie Jean.
All right, Jim, court 14, the number 7 seed and the number 7 ranking player in the world, Mary Jo Fernandez from Miami, Florida, going against Nanne Dahlman from Helsinki, Finland. This is Mary Jo. It is 7-5, 5-2 out here. Mary Jo serving at deuce. This is Nanne Dahlman from Helsinki, Finland. Mary Jo looking very relaxed, Billy.
The first set was extremely close because Dahlman was hitting winners off her forehand drive.
Dahlman overhitting, and so Mary Jo now at match point. She is the most calm, collected player on the women's side. She just never seems to get rattled.
Oh, she does get rattled.
And a service ace. And so Mary Jo Fernandez, a straight set winner out here on 14. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Barry. And let's see where Mary Jo Fernandez goes next. To a match with Amy Frazier in the third round, Fernandez will be favored to go on into the draw. Now back to center court, where Seles is trying to close out Sabine Appelmans.
Love 15.
Monica Seles hoping to keep alive a streak in which she has won her last 5 Grand Slam tournaments.
That's 36 straight matches.
15 all.
She had not skipped Wimbledon last year. She'd have had a Grand Slam if she had come here and won.
Here with Seles' back to the camera, she is serving from the north end of the court. You can see again what I mentioned, Jim, about the small degree of rotation in her left arm when she serves. No more than about 50 degrees, which is not much at all. Figure someone like John McEnroe, when he's serving a first serve from the ad court, up to 190. Oh, that's a good serve.
Well placed. An ace for Seles to punctuate an easy victory over Sabine Appelmans of Belgium. She is not likely to be challenged in the early rounds, not with her competitive toughness, not with her ground stroke advantages. So #1 seeded and #1 ranked Monica Seles, in search of her first Wimbledon championship, goes on toward a match with veteran Peruvian star Laura Gildemeister in the 3rd round. And now Monica Seles stands by with our Andrea Jaeger in the interview. The easy victory for Seles extends her match-winning streak in Grand Slam tournaments to 37 in a row. So far, competition isn't a part of her story here. But there are stories in the newspapers again today. Several times in recent years, they have written about her grunting, the audible sound of effort she emits every time she pounds the ball off of either wing. And believe it or not, the tournament committee is apparently interested in this subject as well. For more on that, we turn once again to our reporter, Larry Merchant.
When the umpire at center court today intoned "quiet, please," Monica Seles was relieved to know he wasn't addressing her. Many people, you see, like to hear as well as watch her swing a tennis racket. The player on the other side of the net isn't necessarily one of them. Alan Mills, the head referee, prefers Monica's karate chop strokes without sound. He says there's no place in the game for it, meaning Wimbledon. He has given umpires the option to penalize her if her grunts distract her opponents too much. After her 2nd round victory today, Monica said she doubts it will come to that. After all, nobody ever invented a gruntometer or a squealometer for Jimmy Connors. Perhaps it's sexism, or perhaps they're afraid of turning this great garden party into a noisy aviary when the next generation comes up, patterning itself after the great Monica Seles. Jim?
Thanks a lot, Larry. Well, for my opinion, give me a break. This has to be the silliest tennis jurisdictional question of all time, and it's going some to say that. But, of course, the Wimbledon committee doesn't care about my opinion, and even though you're a tennis fan, they don't really care that much about yours either on a subject like this. But we care about your opinion on our rebroadcast tonight of... In the wake of yesterday's dramatic elections in Israel, Israeli tennis star Amos Mansdorf is attempting to effect a major political shift here in his battle with defending champion Michael Stich. It's been a nip-and-tuck first set. Let's go out there to pick it up on the fabled upset court with Billie Jean King and Barry McKay.
All right, Jim, the #3 seed, Michael Stich, and defending champion in all kinds of trouble out here on court #2 against Amos Mansdorf. Here he is, Billy, and he has Maleeva going against Manon Bollegraf of Holland. Maleeva leads this head-to-head 1-0. Court 13, 15-30. Bollegraf taking on Maleeva. Ooh, just behind the baseline, and so Billy now trouble. Manon Bollegraf down 15-40 to Katerina Maleeva. Court 13. Ooh, and a good return. And there it is. Maleeva, a winner out here on 13. That's the story, Jim. Back to you.
6-4, 6-1.
All right, Barry, and there's a look at the Maleeva draw as Katerina moves forward toward a match with Indo here than was the case last year. Last year, he was the center of media attention on the cover of the tabloid newspapers every day. This year, it is his competitive record on the court, which is in question, and Andre has faced it well in winning his first-round match. Now, let's quickly have some scores from around the grounds. Richard Krajicek, in a battle of Flying Dutchman, eliminated the best little Harhouse in tennis in straight sets, 7-6, 6-3, and 6-1, and the hard-serving Krajicek is some people's favorite dark horse to win the tournament. Gigi Fernandez with an upset victory over Kimiko Date of Japan, so the first Japanese woman ever to have been seeded in the Grand Slam tournament is gone at Wimbledon in straight sets. Manuela Maleeva Franier, now playing out of Switzerland after her marriage to a Swiss gentleman, was a straight set winner over Nicole Munz-Jagerman, and Alexander Volkov of Russia was a straight set winner over qualifier Branislav Stankovic. And Anke Huber of Germany, seeded 10th, and a rising young star, was a straight set winner over Christina Tessie. And right now we're going to look at one of the others. Meanwhile, remember in 1989 when Arantxa Sanchez Vicario won the French Open and won the hearts of a lot of fans with her funky, chunky, plucky style. Well, she's still playing the game and playing it well, and Arantxa is among the high seeds in this tournament. Let's take our first look at her now, as she is on court 1 against Frenchwoman Julie Allard.
Court 1, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, seeded number 5, taking on Julie Allard from Versailles, France. This is Arantxa, who has been struggling somewhat out here on court number 1. As you can see, she lost the first set, 6-3, came back to win the second, 6-2. It is now 3-all, third set. Oh, yes. And Billy, Julie Allard, one of the most striking players in a big forehand.
Well, she's very unorthodox. Watch how she even hits this forehand high volley. She uses a lot of risk just at the last moment. So you can't really read this volley. And she has thrown Sanchez Vicario's timing off today. You can just see Sanchez Vicario guessing as what to do. What should be my strategy? I'm not clear.
And who says Monica Seles is the only lady in this tournament who grunts? I'm hearing a lot of grunts from both sides out there right now.
Both players working very hard. They're not that tall or don't have that much natural strength. So both players are working very hard. Here's one of the quickest players in the game.
Yes. One thing I've noticed about Allard's forehand as we watch it one more time.
Now watch, you'd think she'd go down the line, but instead hooks it back cross court. And Sanchez Vicario cannot believe it. Caught her flat-footed. She wasn't ready to hit that slice back forehand.
Double break point.
30-40.
Everybody remembers that big win in 1989 by this young woman, the French Open Championships. She won it in Paris, but she is in trouble here. Down break point, 30-40, and 3-all in the third. And there it is, a break again. And so Julie Allard from Versailles, France, with a big chance for an upset over here on court number 1.
Miss Allard leads 4-3, final set.
As we look at the score, Billy, I think one of the most impressive things about Allard's forehand is the angle that she seems to get on that ball so often.
That's true. Just at the last moment, as she's swinging through the ball, she uses a lot of risk. And she's got wins over Pam Shriver, Zina Garrison, Gigi Fernandez. She can play. She's gotten better each year. She's only 21 years old.
And a very calm competitor out there. She seems to play well within herself. I think she senses that this could be a huge opportunity for her here on court number 1. She beat Regina Ratchetova 6-3, 6-1 in the first round.
And there you saw her exhale, which is a smart thing to do.
What's going through Arantxa's head right at this point, Billy? As we look at the overall analysis of the match to date.
This is a very, very close match. Look at that first percentage. Not much difference. Difference of 8. Winners, 37-34. Unforced errors, just a few more from Halard, but she's going for more winners as well.
Allard serving with a break. 4-3, third set.
15
No call. Arantxa thought it might have been wide. 15 love.
Halard is very unorthodox. She's deceptive. You can't read where she's going to hit the ball. So therefore, you have to really just watch the ball.
30
I've never seen Sanchez Vicario so much on the defense, Barry, in a match.
She has had her on the go all afternoon.
This is a perfect example. Set that open court up with the wide serve. And she really clocked that backhand.
1 point away from a 5-3 lead out here. And a miss hit on the return of serve, and so Julie Allard now leads 5-3 in the third set out here on court number 1.
Allard leads 5-3, final set.
They have been playing for 1 hour and 51 minutes. You're looking at the number 5 seed, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, who now faces a big upset. Court number 1, Julie Allard leading 5-3, third set. They split the first two against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario.
Unbelievable.
She is trying to pump herself right through this last game as we look at a tremendous cross-court two-hander, catches Arantxa. Again, that tremendous angle, Billy, off the forehand.
Allard really hits on the outside of the ball in that one. We'll get to see it on this. Watch out. She comes on the outside with that wrist at the last second. And Sanchez Vicario cannot read that forehand. She's had trouble all day long. Very frustrating to play against someone.
2 points away now. Allard is from a major upset here on court number 1. No, she catches her. Sanchez Vicario. Good scrambling shot.
Very good scrambling. She gets very quick and a very smart move, hitting it very low to Halard. But Halard did slip on the grass. Halard ranked number 23 in the world. No slouch.
15-30.
Oh, this is big now. This is when you take your time, repeat your rituals if you need to, if you're serving. Good shot. You see Arantxa coming in on this. I think Halard was taking a look at it. She thought it was long. Again, both players absolutely giving it everything they've got. And Halard's forehand again.
It's deuce.
Bothering Sanchez there. Sanchez Vicario needs to have a... She has no plan. She's just retrieving.
No, she almost looks like she's rushing a little bit, Billy.
She doesn't know what to do.
Half volley, it's going to go long.
Sanchez Vicario did not make a commitment to that shot at all. She hits a great backhand, and then she hesitated.
So Julie Allard out here on court number 1 stands at match point. Tremendous opportunity for a major upset against the number 5 seed, this woman, Sanchez Vicario. It's long, and there it is. Big upset. Julie Allard from Versailles, France, has upset the number 5 seed. Arantxa Sanchez, they kiss at net, but a huge upset here on court number 1.
And so, Billy, this huge crowd has packed in over here on number 1 and has seen the biggest upset to date in the women's draw.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm stunned. Although I know Halard has gotten better and better. I've talked to some of the players. They feel that each year she gets steadier, more aggressive, hitting the ball harder. And today she's shown us a lot of improvement.
Well, there it is, a major upset out here on court number 1. And now we're going to have a look at who she will face. Helena Suková will be going against her in the 3rd round. And so Julie Halard from Versailles, France, a big upset, moves into the 3rd round. Back to you, Jim.
In our 18th year of coverage, HBO Sports brings you the championships at Wimbledon.
Farewell, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. You will probably next see her in her home country of Spain, trying to win a gold medal in Barcelona on more comfortable clay courts. Arthur, what happened to Arantxa in the match?
Well, Jim, simply put, she couldn't control the points today, and that's usually her game. She gets in a preemptive position where she can control what happens next. Today it didn't happen. Julie was just there before she was, so that's exactly what happened today.
All right, let's take a look and see what is happening now to Michael Stich, who has been struggling a little bit against Amos Monsdorf. Back to the famous upset court, number 2 with Barry and Billie Jean.
All right, Jim, the defending champion and number 3 seed Michael Stich going against Amos Monsdorf out here on court number 2. This is Monsdorf, but Stich is ready to serve.
German star athlete with the broad wingspan like that. Remember the overwhelmingly dominant Olympic swimmer Michael Gross, the albatross? The resemblance is so striking that already there are some here at Wimbledon calling Stich albatross too. Meanwhile, Wimbledon has been an albatross around the neck of Ivan Lendl for longer than Lendl would like to remember. He's playing days of the tournament. The question of fast points, overpowering tennis, loss of entertainment value, and whether, in fact, the tournament committee has done anything about it. The hot rumor is that the balls are depressurized, softer this year than they have been in past years. How did it happen? Why did it happen? Did it really happen? For more on the subject, here is our Larry Merchant.
Tennis at Wimbledon long ago shot past the speed of sound and now is approaching the speed of light. Serve, return, maybe, volley. That's a typical point today. John McEnroe says there used to be 12 minutes of tennis in an hour. Today, 4. In the first round, ex-champions Martina Navratilova and Pat Cash said that a combination of higher grass and flatter or less bouncy balls slowed things down. But Wimbledon officials, while admitting they are concerned and are monitoring the situation, deny they have done anything yet. Statistics bear them out. Relative to last year, the points are being played even faster. And that's before the Cannons have eliminated all the pop guns going into the second week. All sports change rules to help offense. The 24-second rule in basketball, the designated hitter in baseball, new blocking techniques allowed in football. But in tennis, more powerful rackets and bigger people have done that. Wimbledon is the heavyweight championship of its sport, but it doesn't want a knockout on every point. Jim?
Well said, Larry. Well, Arthur, we heard Larry tell us that the tournament committee denies having done anything about speeded up play. But one of our telecast crew members, an off-camera crew member, firmly believes that tournament referee Alan Mills acknowledged to him that they did this. Took the balls out of the cans 10 days ago, allowing them to depressurize in the open air and become softer. Would they do anything like that?
Well, I think they might, but if they did, they would certainly tell the players. I sat in the locker room today with Bobby Brett, who is Ivan Nisevic's coach, and Michael Stich, last year's champion, and asked him, had anything like this been done? To their knowledge, no. But they think that it's not a bad idea.
They feel softer to you?
Well, it's tough. I haven't done this in such a long time, I'm not sure, but they think something has been done. What? They're not sure.
Does something have to be done?
Yes, they all agree something has to be done. They are very aware that the entertainment value of men's singles tennis on grass is a problem.
All right, we'll be keeping up with the story, and these balls will sit right here. They can get as soft as they want. Well, Larry mentioned that Wimbledon doesn't want a knockout on every point, but we have Lendl in our imaginations. We believe he has never played a straight set match here. Of course, that isn't entirely true, but always, it seems, he finds some way to stub his toe, even when on the way to victory. Incidentally, we remind you to stay tuned at 7:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time for the last half hour of our coverage, which is a highlight show. Full match coverage until 7:30, and then at 7:30, highlights of matches from players like Monica Seles and Arantxa Sanchez and Andre Agassi, all of whom have been in action today. That highlight show airs again, incidentally, at 11:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time. Now, what about Pete Sampras of Palos Verdes, California? Third-ranked player in the world, bumped to number 5 in the...
Live at Leeds, or headed off to Wimbledon on a magic bus. The who? The players, like Martina, who has number 9, number 10, or Monica, the material girl, or Andre America. Won't get fooled again? God's teeth, how lucky can we get? Day 3 of mostly sunshine, mostly tennis, most of the world's top players in action, mostly memories to pack into our treasure trove from another year at Wimbledon. Day 3 at the All England Lawn Tennis Club for the 106th Grass Court Championships.
Welcome back again. I'm Jim Lampley with Arthur Ashe. And Arthur, as we get ready to look at some highlights of young Americans in action here today, you got to be struck by the fact that Courier, age 21, is ranked number 1. Monica Seles reached number 1 last year at 17. They're getting younger. Are we going to reach the extremes of, say, figure skating or gymnastics?
I don't think so, Jim. There are a couple of reasons for that. If you just look at the empirical evidence, the lower limit seems to be about 14 for girls and about 16 for guys. Now, if you mean, will they do well? Yes, they'll do well, but be number 1? No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Because of the physical demands of the sport?
Yes, it's just too difficult. And tennis has a very large component of mental maturity. Can you keep your wits out there? I can't see a 13 or 14-year-old doing that consistently every day.
All right, let's watch some young Americans as they tried to keep their wits on the grass courts of Wimbledon today.
Young American Mary Jo Fernandez against Nanne Dahlman of Finland. Fernandez trying to get back as far as the semifinal where she went last year before losing to Graf.
Well, she's been winning here 2 days in a row in the same court. It'll be a lucky court for her. Mary Jo playing well within herself, not really stretched. But her coach, Harold Solomon, is trying to get her to come to the net more. Get off that baseline where she feels most comfortable.
A nice winner there from Dahlman. Mary Jo Fernandez got to 5-5 in the first set and set herself up for a service break.
Well, you're seeing here why she doesn't want to come to the net. Her ground strokes are just so penetrating.
And that good cross-court backhand set up a 7-5 conquest in set number 1. Second set, 3-2 Fernandez.
Well, she cared about it.
And at 5-2 Fernandez in the second, match point. A rare ace for Mary Jo Fernandez. She won the match 7-5, 6-2. Moved on into round number 3. Young American on.
Yesterday, in the first portion of his match with Andrei Chesnikov, Agassi had a brief confrontation with chair umpire Jeremy Seles and uttered an audible obscenity. Here's what happened in the match and what Andrei had to say about it today.
Code violation, audible obscenity, warning, Mr. Agassi.
Apparently Ken Farrar felt like he wanted to jump on the opportunity to give me a warning, and I was quite disappointed, and I felt like that was unjustified in the sense that people have to hear it in order for it to be a warning, and even people sitting in the rows around me when I was talking to Ken were saying, what did he say, what did he say? And even on television watching it, you couldn't hear anything, and so I was just frustrated with the call, and I plan on appealing it.
We're still waiting to see what penalty Agassi will face for that incident. The smart money is a $5,000 fine. For more of what happened around the grounds today, let's now join Barry McKay and Billie Jean King.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. You know, there are some strange styles in this game of tennis, and when these styles get together, very unique things happen. You might even call it dangerous liaisons. Billy, what happened to Arantxa Sanchez Vicario? She ran into Julie Halard, who was very tough today.
Well, Julie Halard from France was unbelievable. She was aggressive. She went to net more often than Arantxa, but she's very deceptive because she's quick, like Arantxa. And you can see that Arantxa was totally flabbergasted. She just got off rhythm. She didn't know what to do. As Arthur Ashe said earlier today, she was out of control, and Julie Halard was in control.
All right, we covered 3 other matches that were very interesting. You might say they were dangerous liaisons. Let's have a look at them.
There were some interesting matches on day 3, and this was one of them, Billy. On court number 1, the number 5 seed taking on this young woman, Julie Halard from France. Halard got off to a quick start.
She certainly did. She let Arantxa Sanchez Vicario know who's in the driver's seat.
Julie Halard winning that first game with a strong forehand volley. Now it was still first set. Julie Halard had moved to a 3-1 lead. And after 8 deuces, she finally put away the shot. Halard now leading 5-4, still first set, with a chance to win it.
Going for it on the first serve there.
A big service ace out wide, and Julie Halard had won the first set out here on court 1 at 6-4. Now it was second set. Halard still leading 2-1.
Arantxa hanging in there, though. She never gives up.
Tremendous backhand winner from the number 5 seed. And Arantxa Sanchez Vicario now stood at 5-2, trying to win the second set. Looking much sharper, Sanchez Vicario went on to win that set 6-2. Now it was set number 3, 3-all. Things were about as tight as they could get.
Halard kept Sanchez Vicario on the run, Barry.
Tremendous shot from the French lady. And so now Halard had moved to a 5-3 lead.
Sensing getting close to victory, was going for all her shots. Look at that angle.
She used the angles off both forehand and backhand so well. Now it was match point and a major upset in store out here on court number 1. And an overhit, and Julie Halard had pulled the biggest upset of the tournament.
Last night in this program, John McEnroe was chiding the All England Club for some of its traditions, notably what he would think of as the elitist ones, like the Last 8 Club. You can only go in there if you've made it to the quarterfinal round. Now, you, Arthur, are no elitist, but you like those traditions, don't you?
I do. I think there's a certain unifying theme there that some of these traditions coming together form Wimbledon as we know it. And I don't think all traditions are elitist or aristocratic. I like the idea of the Last 8 Club, even though I've never been in there.
But you can go anytime you
You're right.
want.
It's a place where if you got to the quarters or the semis or the doubles, you can go and hoist a few beers with your mates. That's nice. I like that.
Well, Stefan Edberg's going to like it someday and go in anytime. One of the players who made it straight through today.
18-year-old Monica Seles has Hungarian lineage. That's her dad right there on the right. She was born in Yugoslavia. She lives in Florida, but now has returned to listing her national affiliation as Yugoslavia. First set against Sabine Appelmans of Belgium, and a typical Seles backhand winner contributed to a service break.
And a typical Seles start. In full control of most points at the very beginning. And that is what most opponents try to do, and that's what she does in return.
And the Princess of Wales took the first set 6-3. Second set 3-2 Seles.
Tough to tell who's running the louder. Wrong way.
Most long rallies with Seles are losing propositions. 5-2 Seles, match point. And an easy 6-3, 6-2 victory Monica talked about grass courts.
I cannot change now for one tournament my whole game, and I don't think anybody would want. I don't think it's worth it.
Kimberly Poe, formerly of UCLA, has been suspended because of darkness. They're knotted up at 1 set apiece. 6-2 and 3-6 for Navratilova. We'll show you the resumption tomorrow. Now the point of the day comes from the match between Stefan Edberg and South African left-hander Gary Muller. Edberg won the match easily, but here's the point of the day. Those kinds of things are always fun to watch. Now, for the rest of the week, our schedule remains as follows. 5 o'clock to 7:30 Pacific and Eastern Time, full match coverage, followed by highlights at 7:30 and again at 11:30 p.m. It'll be that way the rest of the week. And tomorrow, we ask you to join us when John McEnroe will be taking on 1987 Wimbledon champion Pat Cash. Jennifer Capriati will also be in action, as will three-time champion Boris Becker. We leave you with more scores.
The executive producer of HBO Sports is Ross Greenberg. The coordinating producer of the Wimbledon Championships is Rick Bernstein. Wimbledon 92 was produced by Michael J. Whalen and directed by Jeffrey Peyton Goff. The highlight show was produced by Dave Harmon. Associate producers Kirby Bradley, Andrea Chater, Brian McDonald, Kendall Reed. Assistants to the producer, Adam Berger, David Leepson. Production manager, Russell Gabay. Technical supervisor, Bob.
Day 4 at the All England Lawn Tennis Championship, and the royal procession of Wimbledon wanna-wins wanes as the tournament bridges from its introduction to its middle cantos. Through the looking glass now, a chance to watch tennis history unfold again, and watch, and wait, and watch some more. For the fireworks of the prodigal return, whose fortnight here a year ago won hearts and cheers, but ended 2 rounds short of fruition. This year, Andre Agassi is a Wimbledon veteran, secure enough in his presence at the shrine of tennis to give away on court one of the white shirts that so relieved the color-sensitive All England club in 1991. Agassi plays again today, and so does his former Tennis Academy classmate, the #1 seed and #1 ranked Jim Courier. He might not bare his chest like Andre, but his game is uniquely thick-skinned. And hello, Mrs. McEnroe. Got any idea where your husband is? Try center court, where today the 3-time champion trots out the family trait of exasperation against another former titleist. We'll watch McEnroe try to trash Cash on day 4 at tangled, topsy-turvy, most treacherous Wimbledon. A new tennis complex was opened for the All England Club on Wimbledon Park Road. First match on center court, Leslie Godfrey versus Algernon Kingscote. And dressed as they were in long flannel trousers with long-sleeve shirts buttoned to the collar, Leslie and Algernon would surely have been startled if they had been transported forward through time to watch Andre Agassi fling his skimpy knit shirt into the crowd yesterday. But today, the modern evolution of tennis continues. Under skies the color of a dirty blackboard, which around here is regarded as unthreatening and quite nice. And hello again and welcome back. I'm Jim Lampley along with 6-time Wimbledon singles champion Billie Jean King. And Billie Jean, back over in America, they are dickering over whether George Foreman and Larry Holmes would attract an audience. Let them come here to see the excitement that attends the second-round match on center court between Pat Cash and John McEnroe.
Couldn't be a better matchup for excitement, speculation. I cannot believe how the players have got interested in this. They are betting. You know, the dressing rooms are going to be full today watching this match and thinking who's going to win. Pat Cash, 1-time singles winner here in 1987. John McEnroe, 3 times winner. John's played 9 tournaments this year. Pat Cash only 3. In fact, Pat Cash is a wild card here. The other one, Henri Leconte. I think McEnroe's going to win because he's more aggressive and he plays the bigger points better. He's an unbelievable ultimate champion.
All right, you and I will have some fun later with Cash and McEnroe, but first of all, the seeded players are doing pretty well. Most of them still around for day 4 of the tournament.
You're right, Jim. In fact, all of them are still in except for one. Michael Chang, he lost to Jeremy Bates, #1 in Great Britain. In the women, 2 are gone. Date and Sanchez Vicario.
All right, so no Date with destiny for Kimiko of Japan. Let's take a look at some of the important matches that are taking place around the grounds today. Starting over on court number 2, where 2 American stars have what look like relatively easy matchups. #1 seeded and #1 ranked Jim Courier, again halfway to a Grand Slam, is playing Byron Black of South Africa, and Courier has won their only previous meeting. Andre Agassi likewise with a seemingly easy day against Eduardo Masso. They have never met before. Over on court number 1, Californian Marianne Wardell is next in the sights for the target practice of woman gunner Steffi Graf, gunning for her 4th championship here. Graf has beaten Wardell twice before. And on center court, we've already mentioned the battle between Pat Cash and John McEnroe. Once again, this is 1987 champion Cash against 3-time champion McEnroe, and John has won 2 of their 3 previous meetings. And Jennifer Capriati on center court is playing against Pam Shriver, the stateswoman of American women's tennis at this point. Surprisingly, they've never met, and these are 2 women that you know pretty well, Billie Jean.
Well, that's right. Jennifer Capriati, 16 years old, has the best return in women's tennis. She's won 3 tournaments already in her young life, and one of those against Seles in San Diego last year. And Pam Shriver, everybody thinks that Pam Shriver is a great doubles player, but look at that. She's won 21 singles tournaments.
Pam and Shriver is a serve and volley player. In fact, they played a common opponent here last year, Kathy Rinaldi, and if you look at statistics from those 2 matches, you see the difference in the style of play.
That's true. All you have to do is go really down to the bottom. Advances to net. Shriver is going to go to net at every possibility she can. Her serve has really dropped, though. She's not serving as well as she used to. In fact, I think Jennifer Capriati is probably going to just be too much off the return of serve and too powerful. I think she's going to go right through Pam Shriver.
If you tell us everything you know about this, we're going to learn an awful lot. Let's go to center court for Jennifer Capriati and Pam Shriver. A happy crowd on center court, watching 2 generations of tennis across the net from one another. Pam Shriver, who in 1978 was at age 16 a finalist in the United States Open. Jennifer Capriati, who was at that time 2 years old. And at 5-2, Capriati is now 3 points away from taking the first set. First time the 2 players have ever met on the court.
All.
Billie Jean, would I bring you out of your seat if I told you that Pam Shriver has won 22 Grand Slam championships?
Well, most of those are in doubles.
All of them are in doubles.
With Martina Navratilova. But last year at the U.S. Open, she teamed with Zvereva, and they won. Pam's a great doubles player. Sometimes I don't think people appreciate her doubles play enough.
15-30.
Now, Jennifer has lost her concentration over the last 2 or 3 games, maybe because she had such a big lead.
All.
That'll help her. Jennifer jumped out to a 4-love lead in the set. Shriver has held serve twice since then.
This could be a huge point.
$40-30.
And Shriver gets to net against Jennifer's second serve, but mishits the volley.
Pam usually makes those volleys. She has quick hands at net.
deuce.
Jennifer's having trouble with her hair.
Now the clock is running on this, Billie Jean. Will they give her time to fix her hair?
One does not know. I would think they would. Umpires are different all over the world. Depends what country you're into. They're very strict here.
Set point number 2 for Jennifer Capriati.
Capriati, 6 games to 2.
So Jennifer Capriati easily goes up 1-0 on center court against Pam Shriver. We will take you back to the magic of center court for the conclusion of Jennifer Capriati and Pam Shriver a little bit later on in the program. And as you have a look at Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, we remind you that coming up later today on the same center court, you'll see former champion John McEnroe against former champion Pat Cash. All those things coming up later on the show courts. For a look at what's on the outer courts, here are Barry and Arthur.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. Arthur and I are going to be following two totally contrasting Americans today. The best player in the world, Jim Courier, and Andre Agassi, certainly the best known player, perhaps, Arthur. But let's talk about Jim Courier first. What makes him such a great player?
Well, Barry, I think his confidence is self-contained. He knows how to win. He is very fast on his feet. He's got a very good return of serve. He competes very well.
He certainly does. Plays the big points well. He'll be taking on Byron Black, USC player who is a fine collegiate player, and it should be a very competitive match out on court number 2. All right, Andre Agassi. Arthur, why hasn't he won the big one?
Well, I don't know. I think he will, but I don't think there is too much talent lost between the two, Courier and Agassi. I think Agassi will do very well. He has just not been able to keep his wits about him when he really had to in Grand Slam championships.
All right, Andre will have his hands full on court 2. He goes against Eduardo Masso from Brussels, Belgium. Those are the two of the matches we'll be following, along with a lot of other good tennis on the outer courts. Back to you, Jim.
All right, gentlemen, we'll talk to you a little later on. Right now, let's pick up the continuing career saga of maybe the greatest woman tennis player of all time, Martina Navratilova. An interrupted match, suspended because of darkness yesterday, 1 set apiece with Kimberly Po of UCLA. Right now, they're beginning set number 3, and this is on court number 2, the famed upset court. Martina, first meeting ever with Kimberly Po. And to find out what's happening, let's return to Barry McKay and Arthur Ashe.
For love, third set, Navratilova against Kimberly Po, court number 2. Interesting choice of shot.
Yes, a Po has to learn, in my opinion, more than anything else in watching her now for 4 games and a little bit yesterday, court positioning on grass. She has quite a bit to learn there, but when she does, she's going to be much tougher.
Drop shot. Oh, Martina trying to dump it over, and we are very fortunate to have with us Billie Jean King during this match, and I'll look forward to some of her comments, Arthur, because she probably knows Martina Navratilova's game better than anyone.
Except Chris Everett.
They played a few times, huh?
Couple.
Po missing over the baseline.
Po needs to slow down.
Yes, Martina again. Billy, you think Martina is volleying? You'll have a chance to watch it right here.
Yes, well, after the match yesterday, she felt she wasn't hitting behind Po enough, and here you see her do that exact thing. She was hitting into the open court on every first volley yesterday.
30 all.
Well, Billie Jean, Kimberly's left thigh is bandaged. Do you think that's hampering her movement about the court now?
I think so. I think just having to wait overnight really favors the more experienced player.
Oh, it's going to go wide. Martina handling a bad bounce off the forehand there very well.
And Kimberly Po slipped back there behind the baseline, which didn't help.
Just wide.
Another thing is Martina's changed her position from yesterday. Yesterday she was behind the baseline, and she realized she should be inside the baseline, and you'll see that her positioning has totally changed from yesterday, playing much more aggressively.
Just wide. And there it is, another service break for Martina Navratilova against this young woman, Kimberly Po. 5-love. Navratilova leading in the third set. Let's have a look now at the overall analysis of this match to date, Arthur.
Well, both are trying to get their first serves in, not trying to do anything fancy with that. And Po has hit 11 more winners, which you wouldn't expect given the score. 5-love in the third right now. And she's also committed more unforced errors. More specifically, at times when it really hurt her.
It's interesting because the service breaks have now become a big factor in this third set, Arthur. But we're delighted to have Billie Jean with us today along with this match because, as I mentioned, she knows a heck of a lot about Martina's game, and a lot of people are amazed at the record of Martina Navratilova. And on the left, you can see the singles titles, Martina, and on the right, I know that that young woman won the Long Beach City Championship at some point in her career. And Billie Jean, tell us about some of those others.
Well, Long Beach was actually the 50s, so we won't talk about that.
There you go.
Well, the 70s was when I was in my prime, the late 60s. So in the 90s...
You stopped.
In the 90s, I was working with HBO with you, Bear and Arthur. There it is.
All right, Billie. Thanks for joining us today. Court number 2, the number 4 seed, Martina Navratilova, 9 times the singles champion here, checking the sun, playing against Kimberly Po. At the bottom of your picture, it is 5-love, third set. Fault. Martina ready to start the serve, stopped it suddenly.
Oh, well, certainly, Barry, I also am looking at this match with some interest. I've known Martina for a long time. Kimberly Po and I went to UCLA, so I want to see her play well. This is not the lady we saw yesterday. That's a very good volley from Martina.
Another look here, Arthur.
Right. Well, do I have any advice for Miss Po? Yes. Well, say a few things after this point. Very good forehand. First thing I would do is have her slow down a bit between points. She's just playing too fast looking at this replay with the open court to Martina's right. She's got to slow down. She's got to get a chip backhand. Her two-handed backhand is very predictable on that side because you can't chip it. She can only hit it flat or with a bit of topspin.
Martina comfortably ahead now at double match point, 40-15. And there it is. Game, set, and match. to the number 4 seed, Martina Navratilova, who was in some trouble yesterday out here on court number 2. A huge crowd out here on 2, giving the 9-time Wimbledon singles champion a big hand, and she is relieved to have this match over with, no question about it. Well, let's have a look now at Martina's draw. She moves into the 3rd round against Rittner. Should be an interesting match for her, but a pretty good draw. All right, let's head down now where Martina is with our Andrea Jaeger.
Probably not bad. The sports psychologists tell us in general that all adrenaline is good adrenaline if you treat it the right way. Quickly, some scores from around the grounds. 9th-seeded Manuela Maleeva of Switzerland, no longer from Bulgaria because of her marriage to a Swiss, is a 3-set winner over Kathy Rinaldi of the United States. Wayne Ferreira, 14th seeded and given by some an outside chance of going far in the tournament, is from South Africa and beat fellow South African Christa van Rensburg in 4 sets. The consummate 16th seed Judith Wiesner of Austria, a straight set winner over Katerina Novak. Derek Restagno, whom you remember from his big moments here in the past, notably his win over McEnroe 2 years ago, a straight set winner over Jaime Isaga. Brian Shelton of the United States, a talented young player formerly of Georgia Tech University, straight set winner over Olivier Delettre of France. And we promised you that we would take you back to see young Jennifer Capriati on center court against Pam Shriver. Let's go there right now. At the far end of the court, Jennifer Capriati. At the near end, Pam Shriver. Capriati took the first set 6-2. 3 apiece, level on serve in a service break filled second set.
$15 yards.
They have traded service breaks in the set to wind up even for the moment.
Well, Capriati just turning it on and penetrating, hitting this ball with such power that even with Pam Shriver's height, she couldn't get to it.
$30-15.
I've asked the women players, did my own mini survey basically, and they say that Seles and Capriati definitely hit the hardest off the ground of any of the 2 women playing today, without any question. And they had a hard time deciding if one or the other hit harder.
Billie Jean, at the peak of your career, which woman player hit the ball hardest off the ground?
Whoa. None of us hit the ball very hard compared to today, so it's difficult to remember. I'll try to think about that and give you a really good answer on that one.
But the point is that there was nobody playing in your era who hit the ball as hard as Graf and Capriati and Seles.
Absolutely. Not even close. These new rackets and whatever there, you saw Pam chipping and charging, her favorite.
Deuce.
Seventh game, second set, deuce. Even on serve in the set.
Advantage, Miss Shriver.
That's one of the best Shriver serves of the day so far. That's taking Jennifer out wide.
First serve. Game, Miss Shriver.
So Pam Shriver holds serve to stay level on serve with Jennifer Capriati in set number 2 on center court. We go to court number 2 with Barry and Arthur.
All right, Jim. This is Zina. She's comfortably ahead, Arthur. 6-2, 5-4. This is match point. Harvey-Wild down 30-40. That's long.
I would describe Harvey-Wild as scrappy.
Zina really moving around now on that return of serve. Oh, and there it is. A double fault. And so Zina Garrison, the number 13 seed, moves ahead. A straight set win over here on court number 2. Zina looking very sharp. Back to you, Jim.
So Zina Garrison defeats Linda Harvey-Wild, who had knocked off Martina Navratilova in a grass court prep tournament last week. And she will face the winner of the match between Adams and Niederfer. Center court, level on serve in set number 2. Pam Shriver getting ready to receive serve against Jennifer Capriati. Capriati began the match with an elegant and complicated braid in the back of her hair and rolled to a 4-love lead. But the braid came out at 4-love, and it's been nuts and bolts and scratching for every point since then. And if Jennifer had designs on a straight set win today, this becomes an important point.
We see Jennifer talking to herself. Shriver's starting to sneak in there and anticipate Jennifer better. What Pam will do is hit a ground stroke, chip, hesitate. Just as Jennifer goes to hit the ball, she'll sneak in and try to catch it in the air. It's starting to become very effective.
Good running volley by Capriati. Ward off break point. Shriver would have been in position to serve out the set and level matters at 1 set apiece.
Advantage, Miss Capriati.
A rare ace for Capriati.
That's the serve that she's improved on, that one down the middle. She used to slide that and slice it into the person more. Now she can do either straight down the middle or hit the slice. Big improvement.
Game, Miss Capriati. New balls.
So Jennifer Capriati toughens up,
4 games all.
wards off the service break, and gets back to even on serve at 4 apiece with Pam Shriver. They are exactly 59 minutes into the match. Capriati took the first set 6-2, jumping out to a 4-love lead. And since then, they have traded game for game. 4 all in the second, even on serve, Shriver serving from the far end.
Love 15.
Capriati jumping around more on the return of serve, trying to energize herself.
Love 30.
And now with 2 unforced errors, one on a backhand in the net, and of course double fault, putting Pam Shriver in jeopardy here of getting broken.
For Runch.
The most powerful forehand of the match
40.
so far. Pam Shriver could not handle it at all. Those are the kinds you just watch, or else try to get out of the way of.
So if Shriver was timing Jennifer's fastball, Capriati turned up the meter a little bit.
$15, 40.
Two more chances for Capriati to get herself into position to serve for the match. Good, patient rally by Shriver.
Well, both players hit directly down the middle until Shriver came up to net and hit the off volley.
Who should have gone to a corner first?
It was correct the way it was.
Shriver succeeds in warding off triple break point.
And she did it by sneaking in again. Shriver is good at that. Just as you go to hit the ball, if you're playing against Shriver, you go to hit the ball and you put your head down to look at the ball, and when you look up and you try to track the ball, there you see Shriver at net, and you think she was going to be in the backcourt.
Dirty Watton net rusher.
Oh, that's why she's so great in doubles.
Advantage, Miss Capriati.
Another crunching forehand for Capriati. another chance to get into position to serve for the match. Better to try to stay on Jennifer's backhand, Billie Jean?
Most of the players feel her forehand's a little bit weaker. It's all relative, though. They think both sides are...
Game is Capriati.
And Jennifer Capriati takes advantage of the fourth break opportunity in Game 9 of the second set. She's now in position to serve out the match. Coming up, later on in our coverage today, two of the great reigning war horses of the sport of tennis. Pat Cash, 1987 Wimbledon champion, still wearing those wretched checkerboard headbands. And the also headband clad, John McEnroe, three-time champion, still to come. On center court, Jennifer Capriati, one game away from putting away Pam Shriver in round 2 and moving on into the third. Capriati cruised through the first set, jumping up 4-love. And they've traded games since then, but Capriati just got a big service break.
Even though Shriver's gotten more serves in, 71% to 55%, the next line, the winners, is really the story. Capriati just is too powerful and penetrates too much off the ground, even though she's had 5 more unforced errors than Shriver. Service is broken, 6-2. It's the return of serve.
Shriver achieved 2 service breaks in this set. But Jennifer has come back and gotten herself in position now to serve for the match.
Pam hesitated on this going to net watch. She hits it with a little bit of a hesitation. She didn't really go through it, and Pam isn't quick enough. She's got to really jump on that return.
Pretty low.
Well, you heard Pam Shriver say, oh, yeah. It's like too good. Can't worry about it.
Love.
Triple match point. Jennifer Capriati. Ball got down, and Capriati puts away Pam Shriver, a longtime veteran, with a 6-2, 6-4 conquest on center court. It looks as though both of them enjoyed the match a great deal and enjoyed getting to know one another as across-the-net competitors. First time they've ever met. And with Pam Shriver now having been put away, Capriati looks ahead to the third round, where her opponent will be the winner of the match between he and Thorin. Capriati will be heavily favored there to move on into the round of 16. And now Jennifer Capriati in the interview room with our Andrea Jaeger. Continues. Tell me the truth, Billie Jean. Did you think she was going to get into some hot water in the second set here, as has been her pattern in early matches?
Not today. And the difference is, I think deep down, Jennifer Capriati thought she would never lose to Pam Shriver. There was no way.
Do you see in Capriati a sense of how to rise to the occasion in Grand Slam tournaments already?
Yes. She likes to be out on center court, the show court, and she does rise to the occasion.
All right, let's talk about somebody else who's been rising to the occasion. Remember Jeremy Bates' upset of Michael...
Turning a record 9 championships into a record 10, almost came a cropper against Kimberly Po in the far court. This match began yesterday. And in the first set,
Kimberly Po broke back after Martina had a service break, but ultimately Martina got it to 4-2.
Martina not serving that well, but hanging in and depending upon her backcourt game to keep her in this first set.
She got it to 5-2 in the first.
Kept coming forward. One of her favorite shots, the backhand drop volley.
6-2 Navratilova in the first. She appears to be cruising to the customary early set victory, but Kimberly Po of UCLA had other ideas. That backhand passing shot led to a break of serve, and Po took command early in set 2, later running it to 3-1 Po.
Martina trying to hang in. The long rally here, and both players covering the entire court.
Point to Navratilova, but Po remained in command. 4-3 in the second.
There are many nice rallies, and Po kept Martina on the baseline on many of them by coming in, taking over.
Ultimately, it reached 5-3 in the second. Nervous time for Navratilova. Error down the line. 6-3 Po in the second set. But at this point, it was getting dark on court number 2. Martina, perhaps sensing that she would prefer to go home.
And Po agreed with Martina.
And play was suspended. They began again today. Third set. 2-love Navratilova.
And Martina, sensing she had to be much more aggressive today if she was going to beat Kimberly Po.
It was a whole different match today. Navratilova cruising through set number 3 made it to match point at 5-love. Game put it away with the service winner. Afterward, Navratilova spoke to our Andrea Jaeger about the difference between today and yesterday.
I was much more aggressive with my body, not just my mind. Yesterday, it's like I wanted to come to the net, but I wasn't really sure. By the time I got there, it was too late. Today, I was 6-7 feet in front of the spot where I was yesterday.
In her grass court prep tournament, Martina had been beaten by Linda Harvey-Wild, who today met Zina Garrison on court number 2. Zina made it to the final 2 years ago, looking for another big run. She led 2-1 in the first set.
Zina, too much power and too aggressive for Linda Harvey-Wild. The quick movement at net, finished with a high forehand volley.
Zina's quickness, always her primary asset. She got it to 5-2 in the first.
And one of Zina's strengths is also her lob. She has good touch off the backhand. Linda Harvey-Wild, known for her good ground strokes.
Forehand cross-court winner. Garrison took the set 6-2. Second set, 4-1 Garrison, and time for her to unveil that lob weapon you mentioned, Billie Jean.
She wins a lot of points when you play Zina. Good hands.
Coming to the net against her, you've got to know that the lob is coming. 5-4 Garrison, match point, a Harvey-Wild double fault. A Garrison wins 6-2 and 6-4. And then to the big drama on center court. John McEnroe, 3-time Wimbledon champion against Pat Cash. She went to the interview room, spoke to the assembled press, and then to our Andrea Jaeger.
John, what a classic match. How satisfying is a win like that?
Oh, it's a great win. But as you said, it was a great tennis match, and it was the way I think grass court tennis should be played. So it was great to be a part of, and obviously even better to win. To play Pat Cash, he won Wimbledon in '87, and he's still, to me, one of the best grass court players around. That's a great win for me.
How's your fitness holding?
The Flowers of Wimbledon with you. We'll be back at 5 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern and Pacific time, until 7:30 with full match coverage. Highlights at 7:30 and again at 11:30. In action tomorrow, Stefan Edberg, Monica Seles, Martina Navratilova, and others. Good night. See you tomorrow.
in the royal stronghold of grass court tennis, and time for all the king's horses, men, women, etc., to retreat toward a weekend's respite. Oh, happy kingdom. Oh, happy tournament. Happy breed of dancing feet, bound together in rhythmic unison, radiant, rapt, rejoicing at Wimbledon, where yesterday, three-time king John McEnroe woke the echoes of championship past with a pulsating comeback on center court. How to check cash from down 2-1. A left-handed reach to pull the proverbial rabbit from the familial hat. McEnroe shook the All England Club's foundations and raised his arms in triumph once more. Once more would make 10 for Martina Navratilova. Could 35 years and 7 matches make 10? Godspeed. But youth will somewhere be served. Maybe in the serve and return of 20-year-old Pete Sampras. Or maybe for 18-year-old tennis diva Monica Seles. Or maybe again for the soccer-bred star of racket rips, a cat like Stich, in his own time, saves the last of his 9 lives for match point. Sign in. Day 5 arrives.
Friday of week 1, and a day for action both on and outside the grounds of the All England Lawn Tennis Club. Because while 30,000 will file into the courts to watch the action here on the 5th day of the tournament, thousands more will settle outside and camp, awaiting a chance at the 2,000 standing room tickets the club has reserved for center court tomorrow in hopes of recreating the egalitarian excitement of last year's Middle Sunday rain-drenched experiment. Day 5 at Wimbledon takes place under the customary dirty blackboard skies. Hello again, I'm Jim Lampley along with Arthur Ashe. And Arthur, they are still talking here about John McEnroe's Desert Storm operation against Pat Cash yesterday, a victory that may or may not have been glorious for McEnroe in the overall context of the sport, but certainly at the moment was exciting to everyone here.
Well, it certainly was, Jim. All of us wanted to see that match. It was the match of the tournament for all of us. It didn't disappoint us. Of course, you have to keep things in perspective. John McEnroe was playing Pat Cash, who had only played 6 matches all year. He was ranked 191. And I don't think John's going to win this tournament, although yesterday was a glorious day for him.
Well, let's take a look now at a significant moment in the match that you pointed out last evening might have had a critical effect on events. Game 4, set 5, the last of McEnroe ranked in the world.